I grew up in a conservative Jewish home.
And being Jewish has always been very important to me.
I knew that I was a part of the chosen people, but I had no idea what we were chosen for.
Being Jewish to me means that I need to be a servant of God.
We did all the holidays and the Friday night dinners, but not very religious.
We Jews are persecuted throughout the centuries, all in the name of Christianity.
You know, I used to crawl into his lap and I said, "Daddy, what is that number on your arm?"
I did go and try and find God in the synagogue, and I couldn't.
I was born Jewish. It's just sort of a natural part of my identity.
As a Jew, I never thought of myself as a sinner. I didn't think of myself as a little sinner. I spent my whole life looking good for God.
My best friend since first grade suddenly told me she couldn't be my friend anymore because I was Jewish.
I always had a strong sense of being Jewish.
I grew up with a very Jewish upbringing. I went to a conservative synagogue. We celebrated the Jewish holidays.
I went to Hebrew school and all that stuff growing up as a kid. And I believed in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
I went to synagogue on the Sabbath. We didn't know about God. We thought maybe He's there, maybe not.
We went to synagogue on the high holidays, and etc., and observed all the Jewish holidays and stuff.
And anytime I would ask a question about Jesus, the answer I got was, "Well, we're Jewish. We're not supposed to talk about Him." Well, why not talk about Him? The man was Jewish.
I knew that if my own Hebrew scriptures are true, Jesus had to be that promised Messiah who would die for my sins and rise from the dead.
To me, there's nothing more Jewish that I can do than to believe in Jesus as the Jewish Messiah.
God had shown me, yes, Jesus was the Messiah and I needed to believe in Him.
To me, it seems very natural to be Jewish and believe in Jesus.
I thought, God, what if I'm betraying you by believing in Jesus? What if I'm doing the wrong thing?
You're brought up to know that you don't believe in Jesus. That's the one thing you know you don't believe in as a Jew. And it's amazing to think that I do love Jesus.
So the perfect demonstration of God's love throughout all history is the offering of the Messiah.
So in May of 1971, I got a New Testament and I started to read it.
I prayed to accept Jesus in my heart. And that was, wow, a lot of years ago, at least 20.
I really feel that believing in Jesus is a fulfillment of my Jewish identity.
He said, "Hey, Stephen, what's happening?" I said, "I don't know, Joel, but I want to know Jesus."
I'm very proud to be Jewish, and I'm more proud that Jesus is my Messiah.
You know, Jewishness and Jesus, they go together. They're not two contradictory things. So why shouldn't we live as though they go together?
Never thought to myself, well, gee, I'm Jewish. I can't believe this, because I realized somehow that this was a message about a Jewish Messiah.
I mean, what happens when I believe in Jesus? Do I become Gentile? No.
When I got to Isaiah 53, that really got to me. And I started studying more, and goodness sakes, yes, I was convinced about the Messiah.
Jesus the Messiah says, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." So why don't you ask Him whether or not it's true?